So, hey guys, what up? Alright, today I'm going to be talking about the 1985 film Witness, starring Harrison Ford, Kelly McGillis, Lucas Haas, and this movie was penned by William Kelly, Pamela Wallace, and Earl W. Wallace. So, Witness is one of those movies from a time before, or at the very beginning of, clear genre boundaries. Back when movies were just movies, which meant that Witness contains elements of action, slice of life, romance, and some police procedural stuff. It's also a very 80s movie, so you get a criminally underused Danny Glover. I'm an appropriate age for this shit. Young Viggo in his first role. Oh, yeah. 80s thugs, an angry Harrison Ford, a bloody shootout, and a man being killed by grain. So what is Witness? Witness is the story of three people. Rachel, an Amish widow, Samuel, her young son, and John Book, a Philadelphia detective. Recently widowed, Rachel and her son Samuel leave their Amish community bound for Baltimore to visit Rachel's sister. While their train is delayed in Philadelphia, Samuel witnesses a murder. John Book, the lead detective, detains the pair as witnesses. With help from Samuel, Book discovers that the murderer is a fellow police officer, and after attempting to blow the whistle, Book and Samuel are targeted by a group of corrupt police officers. After Book is shot, the trio escape back to the Amish community, and the second act begins. The main action of the movie is Book trying to fit in this new world, while Rachel deals with her feelings for Book and what they mean to her faith and her community. Now that we're all caught up, that brings us to the first 10 pages. The first thing that stands out in these first 10 pages is the fact that Book is nowhere to be found. How can you have a movie where the main character doesn't show up for the first 10 pages? What even happens? Well, the first 10 pages of this screenplay are packed with plot, image, characterization, and theme. The first 10 pages use images to establish a setting, the Amish community, which is this movie's most defining feature. The opening image of Witness is children crossing a field, slightly different in the movie, but whatever. This is an old world image of a Pacific world that is made even more traditional, reserved, severe, and tight-knit by the occasion of the movie, the funeral of Rachel's husband. Not only is this a world that is foreign to us, it's a world where conformity is the law of the land. Most of the images of this group cements them as one unit. They look and act as one, and difference is not tolerated. The first 10 establish the backstory of Rachel, although not very concretely. She's grief-stricken after her husband died, somehow. She's going to see her sister in Baltimore, for some reason. And she's sought after by Hochstetler, some guy. The first 10 establish Rachel as one with her community. She's the lead here, but she does not stray from the pack at all. We get a hint of disagreement when she tells Hochstetler that she needs time, but since he's described as raffish, her modesty and chastity only cements her further as a member of the Amish community. This image of her as a goody-goody is upended when she returns from her trip with a violent English, which is what the Amish call anyone who's not Amish, who breaks just about every rule the Amish have. The first 10 make use of image to show us the key thematic conflict of the piece, the tension between the modern world and that of the Amish. When Rachel and Samuel head to the city by buggy, they create a traffic jam of cars trying to pass them. This image of cars backed up behind the traditional Amish buggy is pretty significant thematically, if you know what I'm saying. When they ride the train, Hochstetler follows them on his wagon to see them off, but his horse cannot catch up, and they watch it disappear into the distance. Another society competing with their way of life kind of image. And as they near the city, things get more and more foreign to them. This is a world where they're out of place, and even things that might seem familiar to them are not as they seem. This is a great setup that pays off when Book goes from the modern world to the rural one and has the same othering experience. Though the dialogue is sparse, it fulfills an important role in the first 10 pages. The first lines of the piece are those of the funeral service, spoken in German with subtitles. Here we get a strong sense of the formalism and the conformity of Amish life. We get some characterization in the dialogue, as mentioned earlier. Rachel needs more time. She's modest and she's chaste, but she's interested. We get foreshadowing. Careful out there among those English, says the patriarch of the family. This is also the last line of the film, said by the same character to Book to show that he has earned his respect. We get more about the conflict between the modern world and the Amish, with this exchange between Rachel and her son. We get some irony in the interplay between Samuel and the little girl, where she's first put off and then she's intrigued by him, and this parallels the relationship between Book and Rachel. But we also get some humor. This exchange humanizes the Amish community a bit, which is very needed after the really stuffy beginning. The first 10 ends on the catalyst. Samuel witnesses the murder that makes him a target and creates the occasion for Book to enter the story. So, why no Harrison Ford in the first 10? Despite not being the title character, Samuel is the literal witness and Book is the metaphorical witness, witnessing the Amish community. It's arguable that Rachel is the lead of the film. Her internal struggle is stronger, she has a bigger change, and she has more to lose. She also has a lot of screen time. Harrison Ford is a pretty typical action cop like Jack Ryan or Jack Reacher or Jack Harper. That said, he's the megastar here, and he gets way out of his element and pretty much steals the climax of the film, so I'd say this is truly a case of dual leads. And here's a fun fact. If you've seen the 2012 film Looper, writer-director Rian Johnson said Witness was a big inspiration, and he bit the structure big time. The lead in the city, facing threat from his own people, hides out on a farm and forms an uneasy truce with the mother and her much more agreeable child until he is eventually tracked down and has a final showdown in this new world. Even funner fact, Rian Johnson also made Brick, which features a more grown-up Lucas Haas as the Pin. Thanks.